Hey guys, it's Jen, Not a Real Farm. Okay guys, we are at October the 23rd and we are still in the green, let's put it that way. Just wanted to bring you and start you on this side of the greenhouse just because what you're looking at from here all the way up are my plum trees. So this plum tree has actually taken on considerable growth since I brought it in here, and it's planted right into the bin. So we're going to be able to maintain it and it will survive the winter. It's actually a plum tree that's not necessarily for this zone. It's the purple sort of opal plums, Italian plums. So we grew one tree here, and then we have another tree that is right in the middle of seed saving and moving everything around, so it's a little messy, but we have another plum tree here. And they're doing extremely well. Most of my trees are beginning to lose their leaves. These ones are holding firm, and they're actually pretty good, considerable size. We have lots of things still going on in here. This bed is full of sweet potatoes that I haven't picked yet. And normally, obviously, if these were outside, there would be no way that these would survive. So that shows you just how much the temperatures hold in here at night and protect the plants from frost. So we've got a whole bed of these and they're starting to change color. If the temperatures hold, you'll find that your sweet potatoes in a greenhouse will start to flower. And then that's when you know that they're starting to develop the tubers underground. What I think is cool is even though it's really late in the season now and we're getting into those minuses at night, the plants are still producing tomatoes in here. So we've gotten to a point now where I was saying the tomatoes are smaller, but you're still getting those nice fresh tomatoes to come in and pick pretty much almost at the end of October. Oh, it's not bad. We do have some tomatoes on the other side as well. We're still coming through and picking hot peppers. So these, once again, are the fish peppers. I don't believe we've put them up on the store yet. I have to double check, but we're still getting the fish peppers, which are really hot and actually really nice to look at. So they start off that nice sort of white and green color, and then when they become their hottest, they turn red. So we've got quite a few here as well. Not bad. Beware, these have a bite. We also still have a little bit of the Queen of the Night tomatoes. So even though the tomatoes are getting smaller because the season, once again, like I said, is changing, check out the way that the Queen of the Night changes. So once it gets cooler, the Queen of the Night tomatoes have those nice black shoulders and orange bottoms, and they're really ready to eat at this point. If you look at it, you can see you can squish it a little bit. This is ripe and ready to go. So once again, a really beautiful and interesting tomato to look at and to eat. We still have an abundance of kale that we're growing, and the kale can take the cold. So we're able to still come in here and pick some nice fresh leaves of kale. Our fig tree in here is starting to get a little angry because it's chilly sometimes overnight, but it's doing okay so far. So we have to move him inside in the sunroom this weekend. However, it's still going to produce figs. I probably will get them just in time for Christmas, and it'll continue growing. But we have way more fruit this year than we ever had on the fig tree, so that's great. Another surprise in this bed that I forgot to show you is we're still getting fresh beans. So I had a pole bean growing in here last year, and I guess I didn't get to some of the seed. And so now what we have is we have fresh green pole beans developing that are sort of spread out onto the floor from the bed. So we're still able to eat those nice green beans. So that was a surprise this year. We are still getting walking onions. So we have a Mexican huckleberry that's decided to grow in the onion raised bed, but that's okay. But take a look at all the green onions that we still have today. End of October, and we're still harvesting, so that's awesome. And that is the red walking onions. So for those of you who actually bought the red walking onions, be prepared for harvest pretty much all year. All right, and swinging to the back of the greenhouse, we're back to our notapino peppers. So the notapinos are a really great jalapeno with zero heat. So October 23rd, we're still getting jalapenos. Awesome, they're a really great size. We've already ate a whole bunch of them already. We do have a limited supply on the store that I threw up there in case people wanted to try these. But you can see when the weather is good, you can get an abundance of jalapenos with no heat. So just in case there's any of you out there that really like the taste of jalapenos but don't like the heat, this may be for you. All right, and here we go. We can now harvest these blackberries. Didn't take very long for them to get ripe. There's still a few there that aren't ready, but we're still able to harvest those blackberries and eat them towards the end of October. I'm not really sure if there really is a way to kill blackberries, but these ones inside the greenhouse have done amazing. And still, we have a bunch of baby cherry tomatoes here that we're still able to harvest. These are my super sweets, so these are my sweeties. And basically, it's almost like eating sugar. That's how sweet they are, but they're an abundant tomato. And they can take a little cold, which I really like. My runner beans are still running, so let's leave it and see how far we get with them. Isn't that amazing? They didn't do this all summer, and then all of a sudden when the temperature changes, here come the beans. I have zinnias that are in here that are still flowering. So these are my queen lime zinnias. And now what's happening is they're all turning to seed. So now we're in seed saving mode. And what's great about flowers and herbs is you can leave them and you can come in here anytime in the late fall, or you can come in here in the winter time and start collecting the seeds. So you don't have to panic. It's not a rush. You can leave these seeds in here until you're ready. But we are still getting new buds for the zinnias, so they're not done budding yet in terms of giving us flowers. If we have enough seed, we'll probably throw some up in the store just for everybody to try. And finally, what you're looking at here is genuine wasabi. So the wasabi plant, there's a myth, it does better in heat. It does not. It actually likes a little bit of shade and a little bit cooler. And so now that the greenhouse has cooled off a lot, the wasabi plant is actually doing amazing. So this is the real true wasabi, the kind that you would eat if you were getting your sushi, although in some stores you're getting a mixture of horseradish as opposed to the real Japanese wasabi. So we will be, you can see here, they're starting to still give us new roots, new leaves. So it almost resembles a horseradish, and it's actually quite easy to grow. You really don't have to do anything to wasabi. Just make sure that it stays out of direct light and try to keep it out of the heat as much as possible because it doesn't do well in dry conditions. Take a look at that. I still have huckleberry plants that are actually touching the ground. Amazing. Well, that's it for me today, guys. If you have any questions, please pop them below. Thanks for joining us again. See you soon.